Welcome back to Those Are My Thoughts podcast, where we share our thoughts on popular fantasy reads. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jillian, and welcome to part 2 of Heat of the Everflame, the third book in the Kindred's Curse saga series by Penn Cole. We are feeling iffy about this ending of the book. I don't know.
How are we feeling?
See. We have lots of feelings. I will say I still am really excited for the next book to come out. I'm really excited to read Burn. I do still absolutely love and adore and recommend this series hardcore, but
I have opinions.
Yeah, yes, 100%. I have opinions, especially the second half of this book. I have opinions on the second half of this book.
I was thinking today, I am so flippin' thankful that we recorded an episode halfway through this book.
Mm-hmm. It was so long.
It was so long, but we also had so much to talk about. We were enthusiastic, we were emotional, to where if we would have recorded right now, not having said anything yet, I think I'd be like, nah, the book was fine. I'm whatever, you know? Mm-hmm. But I think back to this first half of the book, and I'm like, so much happened.
I know you and I both share the sentiment a little bit where that feels like a different book. It felt like we read a different book, and then this second half was the next book kind of a situation. And I'm not saying the book wasn't cohesive, but just because we talked about it then and the way that we talked about it, it feels like a lifetime ago. It felt like we read a whole different book since then. So yeah, it's really interesting.
We do need to say that if it's not obvious, this is spoilers for all 3 books of the Kindred's Curse saga. So the book we're talking about today is Heat, book number 3. But this will contain spoilers for books number 1, 2, and 3. And anything we've seen online, Burn is not yet available at the time that we're recording this, so you are safe for any content on the book Burn of the Everflame. That should be coming later this year.
Very excited about that.
Oh, today we're going to do our voice memo recap. Did you already say that?
I did not say that.
We have a voice memo recap for you. So we did a unique thing with this book. We did like a halfway through voice memo.
Yes.
And we shared that last episode. We've never done that before. It felt necessary because clearly we had a lot of thoughts. And now we have a short and sweet voice memo recap for you, 7 minutes long, for how we felt about the second half of the book. Look, I think we were just a bit more engaged and pushing through to get somewhere. I don't know.
Listen, there was a lot of plot. We'll get into it. It wasn't that there wasn't any plot. It's that the plot didn't knock me off my feet. I don't know.
I think both of you and I were really thrown that like the spice took forever to hit. So I think honestly that was a huge reason why I stopped sending you voice notes, because I'm like, get on with it. And then when it finally did, we're at like 90% of the book. And I'm like, I'm just going to
94% of the book. We were literally at the very end of the book. It could not have been further along before Spice came.
Shocking.
And I think we got like, I don't know if somebody gave us a bad opinion or gave us false hope, maybe would be the right thing. You had talked to somebody, and I don't want to out anybody, but...
No, I think it was just social media clips.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. And you had told me like, oh, number 3 is really spicy.
I did.
And I was like, oh, cool.
Like, I led you astray. Literally nothing. I led you astray.
This book was such a tease. Like I was telling Sarah, it was like not... I won't use the word. Should we use the word?
You should, because you taught me a new
term. There's a term in social media like that is a word called edging. So if you haven't heard of edging, Google at your own risk. There's an actual sexual practice called edging. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about like a strong tease, essentially, where it's like you're like they're like almost there. They're like taking clothes off, and then they're like, not tonight. And then they move on with the plot, and you're like, oh,
somebody leaves the room.
God. Like, it just is like, it brings you to this point of like, okay, for real. Like the 4th time they did that, I was like, I'm going to bang my head against the wall. Like, I'm seriously so done with this.
Same. Like, and I don't even need a detailed something. Just like, give me a closed door, hey, and then it happened and we're moving on. Like, I just need to know that the tension broke, and it never did.
Almost to the point that by the time they did it, I was annoyed. And like I enjoyed it
I
a little
agree.
bit, but I was like, it was so far in the book, I was mad. And then I was like, it was lovely. And then of course, I feel like they do this in stories, but of course they do it for the first time and it's like life changing, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, and then for the next 6 hours, we just kept doing each other 17 more times. And then it's like, what? I just was like, okay. Then we got stuck in a library for 2 full more days where all we did was have sex with each other. And I'm like, what? You guys, you held out for so long. I just was like, okay.
Like we still do have a world to save. People are still dying.
Even to the point, Sarah, even to the point, the night we were, like, you actually read the scene this night, and I actually was like, screw it. I put my book down and I didn't read the scene till the next morning because we were like on chapter like 68 or 69, and she was like, I think we're almost there. Like, I think it's gonna happen soon.
I didn't say that. I said this chapter.
And I was like, okay. So I'm like staying up late to try to read. Like, I'm like trying to get through it or whatever. So I read 68, 69, 70, 71. It's still not happening. And like, they're literally like, when I tell you, like, clothes are coming up. And I was like, I'm going to scream into a pillow. I seriously was like, I'm losing my mind. And then the next morning I was like, oh, look, here it is. I just was like annoyed at this point.
Definitely the wrong chapters to split up.
But like,
it's so true.
Even when you knew it was going to happen any second, like, okay, this is for sure it. Like, they're setting it up to for sure be it. It still took her 3 chapters to get it there. I'm like, are you kidding me? These 2.
Oh my God, the
like,
moment.
I can wait longer. What? Why? Why do we have to? Why?
The moment that they get dressed after having a shower together,
I was livid. I was so mad. I was so mad. I was like, I'm gonna scream. Sarah, I was literally like, when I tell you, I couldn't have shut my Kindle off faster. I like basically threw it down on the side table when I was falling asleep. I was like, no, like, you don't get the rest of me reading through the next chapter. Like, that's because I actually thought there's, oh my God. Like, because then it was like, grab your bag, we're going somewhere. And I was like, I'm done. I'm seriously like, so I was like, when you texted me the next morning and I knew it for sure was the next chapter because you had like basically hinted at it in a text.
Flame emojis.
Yeah, our flame emoji is our like spice happened emoji. So she like texted me chapter 72 with a flame emoji. And I was like, okay, it happens in the next chapter. Like, I guess I could have kept reading. But like, I didn't know if I was going to take 4 more chapters to get there or not.
So, honestly, when they got to the library, I was like, surely no. And they said something about like, you guys are the ones that are supposed to make it safe. Like, you got to fix the roof. I was like, here we go. Someone's about to die.
Well, and he pulls out the books and she's like, didn't you want to do it tonight? And he's like, we could still, but I just want you to read. And I was like, I seriously was like, I was like,
Luther.
And then thank God she was like, no, let's do it first. But I was like, oh my gosh, like by that point, I'm so done.
Oh my God.
Obviously, it was like really sweet. But then I knew whatever was going to happen, like immediately after was going to be all hell breaking loose. Yeah.
Completely agree. We need to listen to our voice memo, Kath. Yeah.
Oh, sorry to preface. That's all of our thoughts on that scene. We'll take a step back and talk about the rest of the plot in a minute. But yes, let's listen to our voice notes first. Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk about the rest of the plot and go into our final ratings for this book and our thoughts for next book as well.
That was so funny. You had me crying. Let's freaking do this. We have 7-minute recap. If you haven't listened to one of these before, Jillian and I send each other voice notes while we're reading in the moment as soon as we finish the chapter. So they're emotional. They're taken everywhere, in the car, at the pool, with the children, all over the place. So listen, sit back, enjoy the roller coaster. And then as soon as it's done, like she said, we will continue our thoughts on the rest of the plot. Ready?
Mm-hmm. I was right. She wouldn't leave Luther. She wouldn't just jump off a balcony, of course.
I think she killed the Umbros Queen.
They're kind of saying, like, they think she might not be, but I don't believe that for a second.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think the healing element they need is her blood.
We haven't even gotten Spice yet, so he's not dying.
How freaking sweet! Now that he's healing and she's just like doting over him, just happy again, they're together.
I love how she just described them spending the night together and just talking, like, laughing about the last few weeks and talking about their dreams for the future and talking about how much they love each other. So relatable, so sweet.
Also, Lily telling DM, thank you for giving him happiness. That was really beautiful.
I remember thinking to myself, how do we know she was coronated? Like, there wasn't, like, anything that happened. Remus, like, she just saved his son. And Remus trying to, like, undercut her still is killing me.
And Gareth, honestly, Gareth can die.
Lumnos is the only one that does a challenging ritual. Everyone else gets to just be the crown. Once they're crowned, that's just it. Oh my gosh, the conversation she has with Eamon. And she's like, show me who you really are. And I was kind of hoping after that big speech from DM to Eamon that we were going to get a redemption arc. And maybe we still will, but I don't know about that.
I definitely think we're getting an Eamon redemption arc. Also, how heartbreaking was it to hear that Taryn used to drink so much more, and he used to tell Luther, like, the only days worth living are the ones that he can't remember. Oh my god. And then when she entered the picture, he stopped drinking so much, and he enjoys life now.
She's the queen of Fortos. I knew it. They were saying her crown had changed. Do we think that the crown changing was the queen of Arbros?
She's the queen of Fortos. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, does this mean she's gonna kind of like eat all the crowns?
Every current king or queen in the realm has to die, right? So that she can become the, like, ultimate queen or whatever. I think she's gonna struggle with that. Like, she struggles with killing in general. I think she's gonna struggle with them needing to die so that she can, like, reach her full potential, essentially.
I think you're also right about Umbros. Maybe she's not dead. However, maybe that's why the Umbros Queen kept her close and wanted to know her a bit and talk to her a bit, because the Umbros Queen knew that she was going to be her successor. This is interesting.
Also, her mom continues to be such a big question mark for me. I don't know, something's up with her. But her kind of having hatred for the Descended is killing me because her daughter's Descended. And it's kind of giving me icky vibes.
I am not loving Mom being in the picture and her basically not letting Luther speak. Also, looks like we're not going back to Lumnos. So that was short-lived. I can't believe that we still haven't gotten Spice. I actually wasn't expecting this. This tension build, it's gone on for so long that I'm getting a bit annoyed. Like, is anything gonna happen this book? We're in like 70, probably almost 80%. Is anything ever gonna happen?
The place where the book is at right now, it's so stressful because it feels like there's nowhere safe at all. There's nobody safe at all. And I kind of hate it. Like, there's no, like, here's where I'm laying my head down for the night because I've pissed everyone off now. Everybody's mad at her except for Luther. I don't like it, to be honest. I'm, like, not having fun.
I just need her to stand up to her mother. I need her to stand up to her mother, and I need her to declare, this is the love of my life. I'm going to choose him over everything. All right, so we're the queen of Montignos now. Another crown down. Do we think that we're getting all the crowns in this book?
This is the first place that we felt like the people that are there aren't trying to kill her.
The guy with the gray eyes who is seeming to be our big bad, do you think that this is Father? I think that this is Father.
Surely this has to be the dad. I just feel like it has to be. Like, what else are they pointing to? He seems like not a good man. I wonder if this guy is part of the Guardians or if it's different. Oh my gosh, her mom is giving me Henry vibes. It's so gross. I like so few people in this series right now. Like, literally, Taryn, something's up with the leaks right now, but I guess I still like the leaks. Eleanor, Teller, Lily, Luther. That's it. Found family. That's all I like. Finally, the closure with the mom and Luther. But I was just proud of Diem. Like, this whole book has been about, like, we just have to be honest from here on out. We can't keep holding things from the people that we love because it's just going to hurt people more. And so I hope she learns that lesson more than her mom did.
Man, what her and Luther have is so beautiful and pure. I love that we're finally to a point where she is standing up boldly for it, that she is not wavering in her confidence of him. I love it. They're headed to Sophos, and I'm so excited. I don't know what's going to happen, but something with her magic is going to happen there. I'm so excited.
I don't think we're going to get any spice this book, like any actual spice this book, which is kind of crazy. But I will say, I'm feeling excited that she's going to start having some allies. Like, we're starting to form a plan. This new guy, this new character is going to be like the common enemy. So I'm hoping that we get some allies in all of this.
Finally having the big bad labeled and known and talked about, that does help me with this story. Now I think I know what we're fighting for, so that excites me.
Okay, I have a weird hot take about Teller, which is we got one kind of like take on the Everflame guy with bright red hair. Who else has bright red hair? Her mom. I believe that maybe Teller isn't like descended from the kindred, but Teller would have like Everflame blood in him potentially. Maybe he's immortal. And she's talking about how big Teller is now, which to me is like red flags all over the place.
I was on high alert the second that she was like, he's much larger than me now. I'm like, no.
I definitely feel much more excited about the story now.
I just have to say that I feel sick about DM being separated from Luther. That last moment with them was so weird. Like, the knife cut him, he's clutching his chest, his face was pale, and then he's clutching his chest again as the boat leaves and he's looking at Doriel. Something is wrong, and I'm really scared.
I don't think that the Godstone's gonna hurt her. So what's hard is that I don't believe the cliffhanger. I also wasn't that sad about Perth dying. I maybe think we should have been more sad about that, but I wasn't. I don't know.
That is the end of the voice memo recap.
Oh my gosh.
Does it help you remember anything?
Yeah, for sure. Let's go back to the beginning of where like this portion started, and like
Luther was dying.
First of all, I did not remember you saying. Now in hindsight, maybe I remembered you saying that her blood was the key. But until they spelled it out when we were in Sophos and they were like, she had to like do the full memory search and be like, oh my gosh, a drop of my blood went into that mixture the first time.
Really?
I did not remember that.
That was the first time you realized?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what brought it up for me was when he was dying and she was frantic, running through the palace. She wants to go to his bedroom, to Luther's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to do a keypad with blood, and her blood works to get into his bedroom. It made me think about blood and her and being unique. And I was like, oh, blood, medicine. It's her blood.
Okay, hang on.
That was the moment for me.
Did she use her blood at all when she was...
For Luther?
Yeah.
It was an accident. I think when she went to pour that special medicine into his mouth, she had cut her hand or something. And so some of her blood and the thing went into his mouth. Something like that.
What?
And then in Sophos, she recalls, because now she has the Sopho magic. And
she was recalling when she was mixing Taryn's mixture.
Yeah.
I was still making an assumption that the Arboros situation was what worked, but then she was like, I'm not entirely sure that's what it worked. And I was like, wait, what? And oh my gosh, now that I'm thinking about it, but I do remember thinking like, I'm glad she hid it from the Sophos King when she dropped her blood into the thing and was like, see if this works to the rest of the crew. And they were like, it's not going to work. And then I love how he's like, we have the cure, not to worry. It's like, no, you freaking don't. No, you don't. Anyway, well, back to that whole situation. I mean, I don't think it was like 45, 50%. It was like 50 something percent of the way through the book. So neither of us thought Luther was going to die. But you and I both share that sentiment, which is the only thing that made me really like upset during that whole time was her conversation with Lily. which was the sweetest. And I think it kind of pulled the veil back from what we all thought about Lily this whole time. And I never thought she was stupid
Yes.
or just going along with everything. But she's like, I actually know literally everything that's going on. I know every single thing he's been doing. I know all of the things that are happening here. I'm making all of these decisions because he's got to carry this all by himself, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
I love that she knows. Like, she comes across like it made her seem like so much like,
Naive.
oh, but it made her seem so much stronger when like we had that conversation with her and you get to know like everything she's been working on behind the scenes as well. I just have so much respect for her, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. I really like that character development happened for her. During that whole scene, like, Remus was allowed in the room. Any found family moment, like, really gets me, but I didn't ever get too emotional with all of that, just the Lily part, but the fact that Remus was in the room and then everything he does basically right after that moment, what are we gonna do with him when we get back to Lumnos? Like, this guy.
Okay. Where do we go from here? Like, here's the deal. She's not really the queen of Lumnos. Like, she's now being stuck on this island. Maybe, obviously, that's not going to happen. Like this whole time, all these other crowns are dying. Now she has 5 crowns now. Here's the deal. Like, how is she supposed to? Like, I don't know if you have this feeling, but they all have very different cultures and very different
Mm,
expectations. Like all the different realms or whatever.
mhm.
And it's not so simple. Like when she had 3 crowns, she was like, okay, all right, that's fine. So I'll just go back to Lumnos and then they'll rule themselves, kind of. It's like, what? Like, this is not how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it just seems naive for her to think that way, where she's like, okay, like now I have these 2 crowns. Like, okay, I'll run the army. Yeah, yeah, I'll take it. Like, it's fine. Like, and I'm like, oh my, oh my,
I don't understand.
I don't really know where the, like, plot is going. Not the plot, because like, obviously, there's, like, a goal for the end of, to me, the next book, which is, like, defeat or figure out what to do with her father, but then also, like, the bigger situation that I don't know what's gonna happen with is her where does the future of Amarian go from here? Like, what is the future here? When I sent you the voice note about we started figuring out she was getting these other crowns, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna have to kill all the other crowns. Okay, no, they'll either kill themselves, they'll die off one way, whatever, they'll get killed by the other one. Like, they were
Mhm.
getting killed left and right. She's only killed one. She's only killed Fortos. 2 of them killed each other, and the
Yeah.
Montios king died in the attack or whatever kind of situation. So I don't think she's gonna have to kill them all or really grapple with like that blood on her own hands necessarily when she's getting
Think
the
it's gonna
crowns.
naturally happen.
They really have set every single crown up to be kind of awful. I think there will be one
Mm.
crown, maybe Arboros, that she will struggle with unless she dies like honorably or something like that. But like, will there be a moment where there's like one other crown left and how will that work or something like that, you know?
Did you pick up on all the stuff between Doriel, who is Sophos, and
Mhm.
Maros? Like, are they in a romantic relationship?
I
What's
don't
happening?
know. I don't
There's a
know.
lot of whispering happening between the 2 of them, looks.
My read on that was that he was planning on betraying her the whole time. So she thinks they're over there whispering about like Sophos trying to get Maros on her side and vote for them or whatever. And he's like, you're going to do this vote. Here's what's going to happen. And also, I'm going to betray her. And then this is what's going to happen afterwards. And then we're going to lock her on the island. So, like, Maros and stuff was like agreed to the plan of Sophos on the island. That's why they were like, whispering and looking at each other because they knew what the plan was going to be. But that was my read on that situation was like they were plotting together.
Yeah, I just felt like afterwards, after Sophos basically was like showed the cards, I
Mhm.
felt like they still had a couple eye looks of like, "What, you did this? You did that?" I don't know, it just felt like there was some
Mm.
type of betrayal happening that I didn't understand.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe. I might have to reread that part too to like pick up on the like nuances of that situation
Yeah.
because I missed it, I think. Because I just made an assumption they were plotting.
You brought up something though that I've struggled with all of these books, but this book the most. I didn't
Mhm.
care really in Glow. I didn't care in Spark because I felt like it was brand new and I was trying to understand. But in Heat, book 3 out of a 4-book series, it took so long for me to understand where the plot was going and who was the big bad and, like, what are we actually fighting for, like, where and I still don't have an answer to that right now. Like, I think I know who the big bad is, but everyone is so morally conflicted, and I think that that's a theme of her books, like, people being on separate ends of the spectrum and how do we get along, but I'm like, "He's the big bad. Is he? Are we redeeming him? I'm not sure. I don't know yet." And then we're like, "Okay, she's gonna get all these crowns, like, that's the pinnacle of the story, but maybe it's not. Maybe something else matters." I don't I
Like,
don't
we need to, like,
know.
Noah's Ark this situation, like, wipe them out and restart. Like, I am just like,
Seriously.
nobody can get along. Nobody's like, and I have told you this since the beginning, but like really in last book, like in Glow, it picked up. And then in this book, like highlighted even more. There's nowhere safe. Nowhere safe. And I'm not even talking about from the crowns. Like there's not just bad people she has to unseat and everybody else is great. Like there's good people everywhere and there's also horrible people everywhere. And it's like you never know who to trust. And that's been since day one. And I feel like we're still in that place. Like, even I told you I was getting excited that we maybe could finally trust somebody else that she's been trying to get an ally with. And she goes to Sophos and she has this moment and she has this lovely thing and they give her this stuff and they're finally whatever. And her brother's like, no, I'm happy here. And there's happy mortal people there. And she's finally going to get like, I thought this was going to be the redemption moment for Sophos that she needed. And then as soon as they were like, they let us stay in the library another day. Weird. I haven't seen him around.
Oh,
Something's going on. I was
same.
like,
And you all just keep having sex? I was a bit pissed at that point. I'm like, I'm so glad that the tension broke and we had our moment. However, just taking a free additional 2 days from somebody that you aren't even sure if you trust at this point, no.
I'm
Leave the
like, go
library, go
out, go
check
ask
things
questions.
out.
What's happening? Yeah. And she was like, well, I just need to know all the information. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no.
that was all really frustrating to me. And I also was like bummed that Sophos like being shady on the boat and was like asking for the bonded bargain. I was like, we're getting screwed over here. I'm bummed that it seemed like she has nobody she can trust. Like even like the Arboros Queen, who is trying to like kind of like balance both sides, and she's half mortal as well, which we figure out, and it
Who
shows up
is?
Arboros.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Who shares that with her? Her mom shares that with her. She's like, "You're not the
Yep,
only half
yep, yep.
mortal queen," and she's playing both sides as well. So she's trying to figure it out, and she's trying to fight for both sides. And so she would be an ally, except for the fact that she showed up and like completely betrayed her and like wouldn't vote for her, wouldn't get her, whatever. She's trying not to draw attention to herself. She's trying to make herself like she's like morally gray in that she's trying to do the right thing, but she really wants no one else to know to the point where she'll betray other people. If you're gonna out me, like you're gonna die. I won't do the right thing in this situation. Like I'm not gonna hop on your side now.
Don't understand
I don't
anybody.
either, man. And I felt like the second half of this book, we got a lot of answers for questions we've been asking this whole series regarding like her mom and her, like what happened, where was she, what happened during those, 9 months she was gone, and exactly how did that work? And then also the trip that she was on before and who was her, we got the whole story of like how her mom
Mhm.
became pregnant and why, what happened, and all of the things. And I don't know, I guess I just like, we got a lot of answers in this book. And yet I'm like, okay, like that's kind of how I feel right now. Just like
I agree. I agree completely.
maybe it's a good place to be honest. Like I know it's probably a hot take, like unpopular opinion that we both feel at the end of this book like, all right, I need a break. Like I'm ready for something else. Like if Burn was
Yeah.
here, I would hop right into it and I would be excited for
Same.
it. But since Burn isn't here, like I'm happy to move on now. Like that kind of made me mad, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm just like I need a break.
This reminds me, I haven't told you this yet. I was talking to a new Instagram book friend on our Instagram. And we were talking that we were reading this book right now. She has already read this book. And I said, without any spoilers, like I'm in the middle of Heat. Did you like it? What were your thoughts? She said, if you liked book 1 and book 2, I think you're going to like the rest of this book. She said, however, for me, she said, I don't think I'm going to read book 4.
What?
She's read book.
No.
Yeah. I know. She's read book 1, 2, and 3, and she's like, I just don't think I'm going to read book 4. She followed it up with, however, I am a DNFer, do not finish. I do it all the time, which that's not really how you and
We're
I
not
read.
us.
So totally different people. That's fine. But when she said that, I was appalled. Like, how can you not
I
move
need to know how
forward
this
and
is
like
gonna finish.
finish a series?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to, and I am very excited for the next book. However, my feelings coming to the end of book 3, and imagine that we were in this limbo for more than a year. I might easily say, like, it would be okay if I didn't pick up the next book.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna do that. I like the completion. I like knowing how the story finishes. No, that would probably keep me up at night. But I just, yeah. At first, when I read her message, I was like, how could you do that? And today I'm like, makes a bit more sense.
I do understand the sentiment, although there is so much unsaid that I do really want to see how she wraps it up. Like, I am very interested in knowing how this series ends. Like,
Yeah.
all the questions I have, the things that I'm frustrated about. Like, I want to say, like, I'm gonna trust Penn. I'm gonna trust Penn here, and I'm gonna trust that Penn is going to lead us to a conclusion that makes me feel like, oh, that all needed to happen for this reason, like kind of situation. When I was kind of saying like, maybe we're supposed to feel this way and that's okay. I don't know that I'm supposed to feel like, oh my God, I need to pick up the nice book right now, like kind of a situation in order to enjoy the rest of this series. Like, I think I'm still going to really love Burn. I hope. I've really loved all of this series so far. Like, even though I'm where I'm at in this series now, I've really enjoyed this series as a whole. I enjoyed Diem so much more this book.
Oh, thank God.
So much more this book.
The development happened.
Yeah, I really enjoyed her a lot more. There were moments where I was like, come on, just speak up for yourself. And then she finally would. And I was like, okay. Like, she was kind of like holding back where she needed to. She's having that character development. I was appreciative of like her stepping into the new world last book. Like, it made sense she would fly off the handle when she wasn't supposed to. She didn't know how to act in certain scenarios. Like, she's got all of these past things that she's like bringing to the table. She did have a lot of character development. I'm seeing it.
How much did you love or not love reading Luther's perspective, like seeing through his eyes how much he just like worships her and honor everything she is every single time that we think like she's pissing him off? He's like, no,
Also,
I'm more in love with you.
I will say, can I say what I loved about that whole section is like, she was like, I'm mad at you. And I'm mad at you because you weren't there when I needed you to. And he's like, think about why you're actually mad at me. And you know what's funny about that? I found that
relatable.
Oh my God, that is me to a T. Like, if my husband had $1 for I did that once a day, I'd be like, that was your fault. And he's like, was that my fault? Or are you being defensive for a different reason? And I'm like,
yeah. Are you being defensive out of fear? Like, you are so far vulnerable and insecure because you thought you were losing somebody. And instead of showing that vulnerability, it's, hey, I'm pissed at you.
And I also love how when she read it, she was like, her takeaway wasn't just like, okay, like he loves me so much. Cause like, obviously we know he loves her so much. But I think it was like, she's like, oh my gosh, like he knows me to my core, because he was like, okay, she'd want this. And I'm actually going to go do this because that's what she would want. And also she would care about these things. And I also loved seeing like from her perspective, like he comes dragging Vance around the corner and Vance is like all beat up. It wasn't him that beat him up. It was somebody else that he was
because his queen wouldn't like that.
Yeah. And I love that. Like, he didn't feel the need to like, it wasn't me, like the moment he walked up, but she like made an assumption. And then he was like, okay, let me show you actually what happened. She was like stuck there like, oh, I was so wrong about all of this.
that moment ends with one of my favorite things that I think has happened in these books yet. These books meaning fantasy romance, is that he brings her over to the mirror and he's like, "Do you see her now? Like, do you see the woman that I'm in love with?" And she says, "I think I'm finally starting to see it."
Obsessed.
Wow.
Luther had some really good lines this book. Really good lines this
He
book.
really did. He really did.
Yeah, I really do appreciate him, and he I love how Luther and her mom, like, kind of sparring it out, like, well, they both have assumptions about each other or whatever. They've both been lying to each other for a
Yeah.
long time, and neither of them knew the full story, so either of them is mad at the other person for whatever reason. That made me laugh, and then, obviously, we get to this point where they finally, like, let it all come out, and then her mom had to be, like, in that same position where she was like, "Oh, crap, I'm wrong. He wasn't like this the whole time."
Which as a reader, it took me a second. I was like, "That wasn't genuine.
Right.
Why is she so quickly flipping?" But I got it.
But also, like, imagine it's, like, your daughter and you were, like
Mhm.
also you're kind of, like, reevaluating every interaction you've had kind of situation, and he's like, I told her that, I told her that, I told her that," and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, crap, like, maybe you do."
Also, the moment that she caught them on the tree, I had, like, secondhand embarrassment reading that.
Ugh,
For probably
ugh.
the next 2 chapters, I was like, that didn't happen to me. That didn't happen to me. It's okay. It's alright." Like
Okay, here's the deal. Okay, this is a personal anecdote, but, like, when I would have, like, boyfriends when I was growing up or whatever, and they would be, like, trying to be frisky at my parents' house, I would be like, "No, no, because there's no way
It's
I
just
am
like
getting caught in that moment." And I would be like, the chastity belt was there because I didn't want him to be embarrassed. Like, I had so much shame.
absolutely.
So much
Absolutely.
shame. There was no way.
Same.
They were like, "You never," and I'm like, "No, I don't." And because, "Do you wanna get walked in on?" Because I certainly don't want him in my childhood basement. So, like, no, it's not happening right now. That was me. Full secondhand embarrassment from that. Even now, like, even even when I'm married and I sleep in the same room as my husband at my parents' house now, I feel awkward about it.
Same.
I'm like, "Oh gosh," like,
Oh.
they know we're both up here in the same bed.
I'm so
Oh,
glad you said that. There's
Lord.
some things that just don't go away. I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. What did you think about her mom this book, or that, like, the second half of this book once we got her back in the story?
You know, I still don't know if I'm her greatest fan. It took me longer, so there's that awkward tree moment where mom, like, calls him out, like, "Down, don't defile my daughter," and then quickly they hash it out. It took me longer past that moment to even be like, maybe." I think she'll get more development next book. Maybe if I look in sake for the story, maybe she'll have, like, a happy moment coming together back with Taylor, blah, 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 but I just don't know what it's gonna do for me. For me, I'm holding it against mom of, like, all the life choices that she's made up to this point of not being with her family and sacrificing in ways that she thought was excellent that I don't think are excellent, and I get it, we're morally gray, but not my favorite. Bring back the dad.
You know, I struggle with a morally gray mom. You know I do.
Oof, and won't that tell you about your life?
I struggle with that. I don't know what it is, but, like, there's been other series we've read, and I won't name names, but, like, most people if you know, you know, I think probably what I'm talking about right now, but I've struggled with
Mhm,
that in the
mhm.
past where moms there's been moms in other fantasy series that have made questionable choices and made their children, specifically daughters, feel one way or the other, lied to them their whole lives and made them question everything. And I like, sorry, I have
Yeah.
a hard time forgiving that. She's like, "I'm your mom." It's like, okay, that's not a pass for you to be like, have lied to me my whole life. And, like, I said this to you in a voice note, but she clearly has a clear disgust for Descended. And I'm bummed about
Mhm.
that for Diem because she is Descended. And, like, she,
Oh, I
like,
just remembered
what?
the mom as she's trying to convince her, like, "But no, you and Henry's supposed to be together." And that's basically what Diem has to say is like, he doesn't love me because I'm descended.
And I was bummed that she was like so on that train still. She was like, "What do you mean you and Henry, like, we never loved each other, period." But also, he for sure doesn't love me now. It's a mutual decision.
But from a parent's point of view, like, you know your child better than anybody, and typically, you know that your daughter doesn't wanna be a stay-at-home wife and a housemaid. That's not who she is, that's not how she was created, and that is exactly what Henry wanted from her.
Think about though, like, about how absent her mom like truly was. Like everything her mom was doing behind her back, leaving for months, weeks, whatever. It's like how many times did DM like in the first book let us know, like, yeah, sure, she would leave for weeks or months at a time, but it was never 6 months. Like, I'm like, oh, like
Yeah.
we wouldn't know where my mom was for 2 weeks. Sure. What? Like
Yeah.
crazy. And I think there was just so much of her daughter's life she missed kind of situation. And DM has like mommy problems and also daddy problems. And she's got these rose colored glasses. Like, even at the end, like, at some point, she said, like, no, it'll be fine. And then tell her and mom and I can go back to Lumnos and just grieve
Yeah, she
grieve
did.
my dad's death and it'll all be okay. And it's like, oh my gosh, DM, we are so past everything being okay. Like, couldn't be further down the road of like the entire world is blowing up underneath your feet. Let's get a
Yeah.
grip on reality here for a minute. She'll have these moments of like very clear clarity and where she's like picking things for the future and actually having conversations about how she might lead. Like with Luther, I feel like she has more of those like lucid conversations, but then
Yeah.
her inner monologue is still like this lost child with these parent issues. And the most present, stable parent in her life was her stepfather, who is now dead. I'm devastated for her. She's so lost right now. It does make me want to like sob my eyes out. Like her whole like identity was like, once I find my mom, like everything's gonna be fine. Like her mom was just gonna fix everything. And then she gets to her mom and her mom's a freaking hot mess because she's just a person.
Ooh, that's a message. Write that down.
Yeah. But like I think we've all had that moment realizing when we
Mhm.
were adults that our parents were not perfect people.
We're also humans, yeah.
And you idolize your parents to this to some certain point, and she did
Yeah.
her whole life. And then she was like, once we get to my mom, like, oh, it's all gonna be fine. And when she was talking to Teller, and she's like, I'm sure you felt this way too. She's like, I'm just gonna go get her and come right back. Like, we'll be back tonight. I'm like, well, no, you won't be back tonight.
No.
No, you
No, I
won't.
never thought they were going back.
I know.
Do you think that she will kill her birth father?
I don't know. I don't know.
I still cannot figure out what Penn is writing. I still cannot figure out if we're saving everybody or we're killing everybody. I don't know.
There's more to him than we know right now. Like, I can't make a decision on that because there's something about it was cool. The knowledge drop about the 10th realm or the 10th kindred sibling
I loved all that, yeah.
was very interesting. And he is the kindred.
Mhm.
Like he's the
The
god.
descendant.
No.
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 No, Omnos. Omnos is the god, like Lumnos. Omnos. He is the crown for Omnos.
No.
Yeah, he's
No.
not he's not like Lumnos. He
He is. Because she said
because he was in the blood
he
war.
never had a sibling or he never had offspring. Everybody else had a descended like
Mate. They chose
or a
to
mortal mate.
give up
And
their
then
immortality.
yes, they gave up their immortality and they died, right? Because of that. So they had a mortal mate and then the descended line went from there. And they said this guy never had any offspring. He was going to be completely immortal.
So they put him in the cellar?
He is their god. Yes. He is a god. He's the only kindred left. Like he is all powerful.
Do the characters understand that? Do DM and Luther understand that right now?
I think so.
I did not understand.
That's why DM is so powerful because there's no dilution in the bloodline. That's why she's so powerful.
Oh.
And if we're going by what I think, which is that her mother is Everflame descended somehow.
Yeah.
Like mortal but Everflame descended.
Mhm.
And so that union brought together the like best of both worlds, like what's going to collide
Magic,
to be.
baby.
Yeah.
I didn't leave it in our voice notes because I did not say it clearly, but I essentially think when her birth father, do you know how to say his name? Because I don't.
Let me look it up.
Okay.
Are you ready? Ophiakai.
Ophiakai. That's not hard. Ophiakai. I just can't look at it because it does not look like that.
Ophiakai.
Diem's birth father is named Ophiakai. Ophiakai, when he was on the island trapped in the cellar, I believe that when he saw her mom, Aurelie, that he knew almost like who she was a descendant of, and he knew that if he had a child with this person, it would become like the most powerful offspring. That is what I believe. Obviously, he was extremely manipulative, got her to do exactly what he wanted to do.
The question is, what is his end game? Because, like, we don't know that yet. So,
kill them all?
Well, but is it because, like, right now, like, Aurelie was like, okay, I'm going to kill this guy because he was trying to kill you, but we don't know for sure. He's like, I just wanted her blood, like, to break the curse, whatever.
What do you think? Do you think he was going to kill the infant or take the blood?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it was a take the blood situation.
Right. Okay, I'll bite on that side. If it is, then what's his end game here? Like, he clearly is like not wanting to kill her, like trying to figure it out. It's his daughter, blah blah blah. But he's also like not a good guy. So then he's like trying to figure out, like, I'm just trying to figure out what his motive is. Like, what's his end game?
Know.
Like, wipe everybody out.
Here's the thing.
He's mad at the descendant as well, but it's like, so is his goal to like essentially have a clean bloodline from him, like from Diem, like kind of situation, or like kill off all of his siblings descended, and then like what's his plan?
Because then all the crowns are going to go to her, so then he has to rely on her. Because does he think if he kills Diem that the crowns go to him? I don't think that would happen. Why are the crowns going to her? If she's of blood of him, why did she get the Lumnos crown? That's a great question. And she's not a Lumnos descended. Technically. And that's the first crown she got.
Well, because it's the first one that died.
Confused.
He's the first one that died since she's been alive.
So you think whichever one died first, she would have gotten the crown? You don't think it matters? That's interesting.
I don't know. She also happened to be from Lumnos, you know, but also...
But it's not like it was in her blood, and it's supposed to be about the blood. I'm confusing myself. I'm literally falling into a hole right now.
You know what I was bummed about? That we did not get the Umbros Queen. We didn't get more answers from her. She seemed to know so much more. And I knew that was going to happen. Like, I had a feeling that was going to happen. And it did. Where we didn't get the answers we wanted. No, I was really bummed. She basically was like, saw this attack coming from Ophiakai. Saw this attack coming. Where she was like, I have to go save Luther. Like, bye. And she's like, no, come in the next room and I'll tell you everything. And then she was like, no, I'm going to go do this. I flew away. And then the Empress Queen was like blaming Diem for flying away. She was like, you left us all to die, like kind of situation. And it's like, you had multiple days while I was here to tell me that information so I could have made a different decision. But because you didn't tell me that information until literally the hour of need, she made a different choice. And like, I don't feel bad for the Umbros Queen. Like, you made those choices.
I agree.
All your people died. That sucks. But also, literally, Diem had no idea that he even existed, this other guy. So how would she have known any of it? And so, like, was just at the beginning of her, like, realizing things journey when she was in Umbros. And she wanted more answers. And she was, like, hoping to get them. And she was like dangling this carrot for days. She knew Luther was dying. She knew she was going to have to make a choice eventually. So like, what did she think was going to happen? She should have told her.
But also interesting because she clearly can't see everything. She didn't know that Luther was going to survive. So She only sees some things. Why? Why does she see so much into the future and nobody else does? I don't know. I was upset that we were separated from Taryn and Alix for so long.
Well, we got we got
family.
them for the first full half of the book.
You're right. Wow, that feels like books ago.
We were with them for so long, the first full half of the book. Now we have been separated from Teller, Lily, and
so it's just half.
Eleanor for almost this entire book. We have gotten not all of them on page. Almost no Eleanor on page at all.
I am still team that Teller and Lily get a happily ever after.
Oh, 100%. I'm on that field because I told you, like, I think Teller actually is immortal or that Lily will give up her immortality for him. Like, I think one way or the other, they are getting a happy ending. We know this is going to happen. So I'm not worried about that.
Okay, I want to read you something from the acknowledgements before we finish.
Oh, I didn't read those.
Because I know you don't. And this is actually really interesting. But I also want to talk about, because we're coming to the end, I want to talk about, like, she's on the island. Oh, Luther. This is what I want to talk about. What the heck is going on with Luther? Okay, so they're having their beautiful romantic moment, and they need to go. Sophos is about to come in. Not Sophos, but servants of them are about to come in and be like, hey, time to go. Okay, she's talking, she's rambling. DM is talking, rambling. And Luther is holding a knife. Oh, it's when they're eating their apples. That whole moment, she is interpreting it like, this is beautiful. He's in so much shock that I want to build this future with him and have his babies and blah, blah, blah. And all I'm thinking is, girl, stop talking. Stop talking and look at him. Because something is wrong.
He let her leave without being like, something is wrong. So was something.
But sounds correct if it's something that he thinks she's in danger. I can control it. I can fix it. Why? Why would he yell out, let her know? So something's wrong at the table. He drops the knife. He's gone pale. It's not like he's looking at her with googly eyes. Like, something's wrong. They get up, they go to walk away. He becomes extremely possessive. Now, this far into the book, I don't think that that's a mating bond thing. Normally, I would say that. But I don't think it is in this world. So what is it that tipped him off where he's extremely possessive, which means he probably thinks that she is, her life is being threatened. And then she gets in the boat and he has that moment where he clutches his chest and he looks at Doriel. Sophos person. What the heck? Did he see something coming? Did he expect that everything that was about to happen happened? Then your third moment to confirm that something is wrong with Luther is when Luther, Teller, and Perth come to rescue her on the island for a brief hot second. They have a moment, they look at each other, and her inner monologue says something like, it looked like he needed to tell me something really important, but we didn't have time. And his face is concerned.
Yeah.
There's a moment. I don't know what happens. What is going on?
I don't know. I don't know. That's one of those ones where I don't think we're supposed to know. And I think...
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Pisses me off.
I know.
Because we're probably going to find out in chapter 1 of the next book.
Well, or something like Gabby. She's still on the island or whatever kind of situation. So
I hope that doesn't last long.
Well, you were like, is GM going to die? And I was like, what? And then she did.
Well, I had a thought. It's going to take a second to know, like, what's going to happen next. But we both don't believe that this Godstone spear to the heart is going to harm her.
No, because her blood is the cure.
So it's going to hurt like hell, but she'll heal is what I'm assuming. Oh, but there's no magic on the island. She's the most powerful. It's going to overrule all. I don't know. But so we don't think that spear's going to kill her. I was so glad that it told us that it was the Ignos King, because I was like, I didn't think she was going to for a moment. And like, clearly this is him.
Yeah.
But okay, my quick prediction there was maybe this is some type of trope where like she needs to die to be reborn with all the power. So Godstone sphere to the heart is going to kill her, but she's going to come back and like finally be above the limits of all the things. And that's how she gets off the island. I don't know. How many times can Sorai come back to save her? How many times can Luther be coming back to save her? Like,
Sorai is literally
poor
so
Sorai.
done. She's
Poor
like,
Sorai.
you send me away one more freaking time, motherfucker. She's so
literally,
mad.
literally,
If
free
I'm
her
Sorai, I'm like,
already.
are you kidding me? Like, she's like, save them, not me. She was like, oh my God, every time I come to save you. Every time I come to save you, you do this.
Oh, and Teller choosing Luther over Perth. That's more sad than Perth dying. Sweet Perth, you were honorable, you were loyal.
So that's what, like, and Perth was like, and then died. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, you got it. But,
bye, dude.
But I do, her inner monologue of like, Teller's going to wrestle with that decision for the rest of his life. I was like, ooh.
True.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
True.
That's a rough one.
If you don't have a thought to tell me, I want to read
Acknowledgements.
It's very interesting. I haven't read yet where an author does this, where they put in like their literal thoughts of the book instead of just being like, thank you to my author, the editor, thank you to my publisher. Okay.
Okay.
So Penn Cole, in her acknowledgement, she says, I agonized over whether to split this book up or make significant cuts. But ultimately, I decided to trust that you all would be up for an epic, twisty-turny journey and would stick with me for telling the story that I believed in telling. For me, this book is so much about Diem's growth. When we first met her in Spark, Diem was a woman in denial over just about everything, and she had no idea what she wanted. Seeing how far she has come by the end of Heat, how much she has learned to believe in herself, and how she has taken ownership of both her crown and her heart makes me a proud mama hen. Through it all, she has managed to hold onto her compassion and her capacity for hope and forgiveness. While some, both inside and outside of the book, might see those as her faults, I think they're her biggest strengths of all. Or at least they were. It's just too bad about the Godstone blade to the heart, right? R.I.P. And then there's a little more. This book is also about the nuances of doing the right thing. This story has few true villains or heroes, but it does have a lot of complicated people trying to, in Diem's word, be a good person in a system built on a fundamental bad.
Yep.
Whether it's their family, their people, or their realm, just about everyone in this book believes that their actions are justified to protect somebody else. How do you come together when both sides are convinced they are fighting the good fight? There are no easy answers, but I hope that in this book, as in life, you can try to understand even if you don't agree.
That's honestly my complete sentiments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that she put that in there. It makes me trust her more.
Yep.
Like I trust you with my heart, Penn Cole.
This is why
you and I, we're here together. I'm trusting you with everything that you're going to put in burn. And we've had a long journey, but that acknowledgement section makes me be like, me and you, we're together on this. I feel it.
See, you keep me on the plot. You keep me good with pronunciations. I give you the acknowledgement insights.
I needed that because I'm sorry, Penn, I don't read those. I don't.
No, Jillian doesn't read them.
I should, but I don't.
That was so insightful for me. One, she talks about like, this book doesn't really have a lot of true heroes or true villains. And I'm like, thank you for acknowledging, because I was, sometimes I'm a black and white person. I just want to know, like, what's the good, what's the bad, who is it, who's the downfall.
That has been the whole conversation through literally all 3 books, is me being like, who do we trust? Because nobody seems trustworthy. And it feels like, because there's nobody truly good or truly bad, that I'm struggling with that. But like, also like, that's life a little bit. So I think there was another part she said in there, was like, how basically, where do we go from here? Because how do you build a system that, like, how do you move on from a system that was built on something fundamentally bad, but like with these good people trying to do the right thing? And like, that's where I'm like, I don't know, Penn, you tell me.
We don't know. I hope you got it
figured out. I don't know. Because that is my dilemma right now. That's where I'm at in the story, which is why I'm struggling a little bit with the story. And I need a wrap up of like, okay, like bring me home with this, because
bring me home.
I'm having a hard time being like if this ends on a like, what do you think happened? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or like, I would be like, no, I need good to win. Like a little bit. I need good to win. And I need there to be a clear answer here.
Please.
But it feels like there isn't one.
I do love the life motto that she put in there of, I hope that in this book, as in life, you can understand, even if you don't agree. I feel like if I take nothing else away, understanding that that's like her heart behind these books helps me to understand this story. Like, that's why there's so many different realms. Even you saying like, how does DM plan to rule all these crowns she has now? Like, they're all different cultures, they're all different people. Like, it doesn't work. I love it. It's so realistic. It's so true to what we live day to day.
She has made me since, and I said this last in every episode, she makes me question things in a way that's so beautiful from an author's perspective. Like she puts these dilemmas in my way that make me frustrated, but from a way that's like, it's not the answer I want. Like, but that's life, you know what I mean? And I think there's this portion of it that's like so poetic where I love, it's like, I kind of love it. You know what I mean? It's a love-hate relationship with the story and the characters and the things like, and last book I was like, oh my gosh, I hate DM. I love Luther. Oh, now I'm like, okay, DM's got growth, blah, blah, whatever, all these things like, and she makes you kind of feel these different ways. And it's beautiful writing. It's beautiful writing.
I agree. If you're somebody out there who you finished Heat and you thought you're not going to continue to the next book, I would say trust Penn Cole. Let's keep going. Let's see what else she has in store for us, because I don't think we're going to be disappointed with book 4, the final book 4.
I'm excited for it. That made me more excited for it, honestly.
See, I knew I had to read you that. Okay, whenever Burn comes out, we will be having podcast content on it. We will be devouring it, so stay tuned. Some other things that we want to read this year, this is how we're doing it right now. Like, we've already accomplished the things we really wanted to get done this year, so now we're going series by series, and we'll see what we read. But something for me I really want to accomplish is the Blood and Ash series. I don't know where you're at.
I do too.
That's hard because it's 6 and then book 7, the completed book 7 is about to be released. So
if you are listening to this and you have major suggestions for things that you would think that you really want to hear content on, like you really are missing the content on this book series in the fantasy style series, what is it? We want to know your top series that you want to hear people's opinions on, that you don't feel like there's enough content on, or whatever it might be, or you just would like to hear more conversation around. Like, please, 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 please send us an email, send us a DM, comment on one of our stuff. Like, we are reading all of that stuff. We want to know what you guys think. So please comment on that.
That's exactly it. That's what we need from you. It was so fun having the people pick our next read. I think we'll do that again. But for now, while we sit and wait for book 4, those are my thoughts on Heat.
Are my thoughts on this series so far, the Kindred Curse series. So, all right. Bye.
See ya. Thank you so much for listening. We also want to be your long-distance book bestie. You can find this podcast on all your favorite listening platforms. You can watch us on YouTube at Those Are My Thoughts Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, My Thoughts Pod, on TikTok, mythoughts.pod.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and book recommendations. Email us at thosearemythoughtspod@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. We love you. See you next time. Bye.